There is so much into drafting a quarterback. Traits. Quarterback have traits. And you can't just take a famous name because everybody else is. You have to understand them. You have to analyze. You have to watch the film. We're going to do all that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to figure this out. This tightly wrapped secret of how to draft a successful quarterback into the NFL right after this. I'm back. Did you miss me? Now, look, I can't do this alone. You all know that. I'm not going to sit there and try to tell you that I know how to draft a quarterback. I know a little bit, but I'm going to call Tony. Tony. I mean, it never has something so beautiful come out of trying to order a pizza than the day I met Tony when I called the wrong number. And now I have Tony. So let's call Tony. Let's see what he's doing. Maybe he will send the pizza.
Hello?
Hey Tony, it's Mo.
Hey, Mo, how you doing, bud?
Mo Green.
How's everything going?
Everything's good. Everything's good. I was just, you talked about quarterback traits, and you said you wanted to help me out and tell me about all these different the traits that we should be looking for when we draft a quarterback. I figured now is as good a time as any.
Jeremy, I was thinking the same thing, right? Like traits, you have to really look hard for a quarterback. What happens with fan bases and the media is they fall in love with a particular play. It'd be like, wow, that's great. They think that's going to happen every Sunday. They're gonna redo that particular play over and over, and out pops the quarterback. There's a lot that goes into drafting a quarterback. You have to have a huge checklist. We went over some of it. Putting them in the right position, the supporting cast, what to look for. But now you have to look at the actual quarterback themselves. You have to look at their traits. It's two types. There's the attainable ones that you could practice, you could get better. And then you have the inherent ones, the ones that you're born with. You can't just make your inherent ones better. You could practice, but if you're born with special traits, then you're going to carry it forward to the pros.
Right.
It's not something you can't just practice being Mahomes. It has to be in you. And we're going to take the trait and then we're going to apply them. Everything we learn about quarterbacks, we're going to actually apply them to looking at past drafted quarterbacks. And then when the draft rolls around, the prior couple of months, we'll look at quarterbacks in college and actually bring apart our own assessment, and maybe get the fans involved too. What do you think?
Great. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, so give me something that you think when you're looking at a quarterback. What's something that you might look at?
Their ability to stay in the pocket and not flinch.
Yeah, that would be poise, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to have poise. You need to be able to stand in the pocket and take a hit. For sure, you need to show poise. When you have pressure and you're rolling out, you need to stay calm and be able to take. And that's a huge one. You need to see that on tape. You're drafting kids out of some of these conferences that they never even felt pressure. And you want to put them in the pros versus the Jets? The Jets defense, we know the Jets defense goes with Jet fans.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. Either you have it or you don't. That's inherent. That's not something you could work on. Obviously you could practice pressure over and over, but the ability to break it and to take it and to take a hit, that's inborn. That's inbred. You can't just make that up. What do you think of like a Roethlisberger standing in the pocket and taking a massive hit, delivering, a shot down the field? That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Now let's do another one. Let's do the easy one. Height and speed,
Okay.
right? I mean, you want your prototypical quarterback, right? 6'2.5" to 6'4", 6'5" if they're going to be a pocket passer only, as long as they have another trait. But you want the height. Uh, you knock them down just slightly on height, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw that quarterback, that Russell Wilson, that's doing okay. Celeb Williams is only 6'1". You're not going to get rid of him because he's only 6'1", right?
Right. It's something nice to have, and if they're like, I'm thinking 5'9", 5'10", or something like that, you got to really love everything else, right? But because you realize that is a disadvantage, something that they're going to have to overcome.
Exactly. Now then you take it to the speed part. Now you would love to have Lamar Jackson, speed, running ability, Fields, the same thing. You don't need it, but if you're building the perfect quarterback, you'd want some of it. I mean,
Sure.
do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of times we could save a drive just on that, right? Third down, nobody's open. And how many, we watch Lamar Jackson do it all the time. He extends the drive because rather than have to throw the ball away or try to force something, he just takes off.
Right. Now, let's do another thing. What about footwork? Right? You look
Yeah.
at a quarterback, you look at footwork. You know how many fans, they look at it, people say, oh, he has bad footwork. They're ready to get rid of the kid. That is very coachable. You could fix that. You could work with a kid, especially a kid that wants to be worked. There's certain players, they get all this advanced training, The parents put a lot into them. Somebody else puts a lot into them because they see the talent. A lot of kids don't get the opportunity to get the advanced coaching, to get great footwork.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
No, that's correct, and I totally see why that would be a coachable thing. I mean, I've seen on a high school football field, I've seen quarterbacks with literally a rope tying their two ankles together with a certain amount of space, and I've seen all these little tricks that they do to work on their footwork, so I know it's coachable.
Right. It's definitely attainable. You could do it. You could make it happen. Now, we talked about poise already, right? So let's talk about, here's another one, fluidity. In terms of football, when you're throwing a ball, you need to be able to transfer your weight properly from different platforms. So if you're running, you don't want to just throw it off your back foot or jump if you don't have to. You want to be able to transfer your weight properly from every platform. That's a very important thing. You're seeing a lot of quarterbacks nowadays just settling for the back, the off 1 foot throw, throwing off their back foot, not transferring weight properly. You're losing the best off your ball, right? You've seen it all the time. You're getting pressure, and the kid has to throw it off the back foot. He's not getting the same off of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct? So you want to see a kid that makes the right decision on what platform to throw from. And that's huge because a lot of times they're doing it just to show off. They're showing you something. You know what? Why didn't you set up right? You have plenty of time. You got a wide open receiver. Why aren't you planting your foot, setting up right, and making the proper throw, getting rid of it? You're not getting that when you should, on not great quarterbacks.
Right.
But the great ones know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another one. What about escapability, mobility?
Well,
that's a different ball game than speed. Okay, mobility. They're able to roll out right. Could you roll them out left? What could you do with them? You don't see Mac Jones rolling out all day long. Correct?
Right.
Right. I mean, it's good. You could have a pocket passer, but in today's NFL, with the advanced players, physical traits that the defense has, you need to have some type of mobility in your perfect quarterback, right? If you could put him behind the best offensive line of football and protect them, no, you could get away with it still. But if you're building your quarterback, you want some mobility and escapability, right?
Yeah, yeah, especially because of the speed of the game, and if you're not mobile as a quarterback in today's world, one guy on the offense, that great offensive line goes down, or they have an off day, or the other team is just better. You're playing against a defense with a lot of edge rushers. The only way your quarterback's going to have a chance if they have some escapability.
Exactly. And it's a big thing. And if it's used properly, if you're not going to stand in the pocket and deliver the throw, if you're going to escape because you're scared of pressure, and then you're killing the play to go invent your own thing, that might turn into an issue. You want the escapability to extend the play, but you also have to have that fine line of staying in there and making the right throw when you're supposed to. Because that could cost you some points over the course of a year, and you don't want that. Football is it's like one of the best games because you only have 17 games now. That one play could cost you the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? And you see it all the time. We talked about Zach missing some of these touchdown throws that could have put him in the playoffs. So every play that you do shows up. It'll come up later in the box score. It'll come up in the final, your final record. So let's go to the next one. Reading defenses. That's what? You're not born with it.
That's a learned thing.
Right. It's an attainable trait. If you have most kids in college, what are you looking at? Right? If you come from a pro-ready offense and they're reading, they're playing in the SEC against a good defense, then you could talk about, okay, it helps you, he'll start quicker. You don't have to put as much work into him. It's a nice thing to have. But you cannot get rid of absolute talent because you think they don't read defenses, right?
Right.
That's something that you could teach them.
Right.
You can't teach them, number 10 when we get to that one. You can't teach on talent.
Right.
Right? You could teach reading defense.
Right.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
We'll stay with attainable for one. Accuracy throwing from a clean pocket.
Okay.
Now, if they give you time, they could clean you up and teach you how to throw stationary routes from a clean pocket. You could do it all day long. If you have a certain amount of arm strength, everybody could learn how to hit certain routes from a clean pocket. That's definitely attainable.
Yeah.
If you see some accuracy issues because of footwork or certain things, you could fix that. But you don't throw a guy, you don't say, oh, no, we can't get this guy, right? It's not the whole package. You want the whole package. And I'll tell you one thing. Looking at all of this, there is one player coming out this year with the entire package. Okay? Definitely the entire package. Because we're going to look, we talked about looking at everything, looking at the interceptions, looking at their bad plays, looking at their great plays, looking at the route tree. There is one, maybe two with the entire package. Scaled down from one, but yeah. There's one quarterback that's going to be absolutely an athletic beast, right? That could do anything he wants on a football field.
Well, I know you're talking about a 4th, 5th round guy that you say is going to be available that no one knows about. Secret.
Yeah. No, we do. There is one there that's going to surprise a lot of people, that has a lot in it and is falling through the cracks.
There's going to be
go to the next
a lot of people. A lot of people are waiting for us to reveal who that is. So one day we'll reveal it.
We're not going to go hand the opposition, right? Hopefully Woody Johnson sees this and gives us a call and we give him a quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing, off platform. This is very important. Okay. It's not overhyped. It's very nice to do off platform everything. Okay. As long as it's an extension of the play, escapability, and you do different things off platform, that's fine. Okay? But you can't overhype it. You actually have to see it on tape. You can't see that one play and say, oh, wow, this is incredible. That's what people tend to do. You need to see it repetitively. You need to be able to see a kid rolling out left, throwing it back against their body right. A kid rolling out, a righty rolling out left and throwing it left-handed. You see that one?
Yeah. Crazy.
Okay. Right. I mean, off platform is a great thing. But here's the thing. If you're transferring to off platform instead of doing the standard everything, if you have time to go back and set your feet and do the right throw and so forth, and you're not doing it, then you have issues. Okay? You want to do everything possible to do it the correct way. And off platform, if you're going to just buy a kid on hype because you see some spectacular, some throws that are different and they hype them up as off platform, then you're not going to find a quarterback. Okay? Because we already went over the ability to handle pressure, right? The previous video.
Yes.
You can't undo certain things.
Right.
Okay. You don't want to do off. You're scared of a rush. You escape. And you start running around. You're breaking your play, and then you're trying something crazy. You don't want that.
No.
Definitely not. Okay. So off platform is a great thing if you use it right.
Okay.
Now let's go to the next one. Isolation. Okay, this is an easily attainable trade. You look off the safety, you show your eyes, you make the safety make a move because of your eyes. This is something that you definitely could teach.
So important.
What?
It's so important. Because the NFL safeties, NFL linebackers, they'll have a field day on you if you don't misguide them with your eyes, if you're too easy to read.
Right, and we saw that in New York with Rodgers trying to teach Zach. Okay, you see a little bit of that this year with actual eye manipulation. Now, there's a lot of things that go into being an actual quarterback. I mean, people don't realize the amount of work they do when it comes to, reading defenses, preparation, and so forth. You can't take that for granted. If you're learning if the Jets draft a quarterback and they put him behind Rodgers for a year and a half, 2 years, that's the best possible situation a quarterback could be in. Correct? I mean, how's Love panning out? Guy on Green Bay. He's turning out okay.
It definitely may have been in trouble if he would have been drafted by a team and thrown out there the first year. I mean, he might already be out of the game and never be given this chance because you could tell he benefited from by being able to develop.
Exactly. And the first part of the video that we made, this is part 2. It talks about the situation you put a kid in. I mean, we talked about Zach not being in the best situation to start, Sam Darnold not being in the best situation, definitely. He talked about that already. But there's also things that tell you right off the bat, this ain't your guy. Okay? You can't talk about that enough. You really need to look at the situation the quarterback comes from and the situation you're putting them in. In some of these teams, there's another team right now in the same situation as we were with the Jets, with Donald. Right? It's Washington, the Commanders. Yesterday, that kid struggled, right? On Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, against who?
Against our defense. A lot of pressure.
Right. Now, this quarterback coming out this year, what do? They already know they got to build an offensive line. They already know he doesn't have a number 1 receiver, right?
Yeah.
Right. Do you jump? You bring in another kid and put him in the same situation, or do you work with the kid for a year, see what you got, and then move on? Right? And you build something so that you can actually evaluate a quarterback.
Yeah.
You got to watch. Correct?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to judge Sam Howell too much right now with what they're putting around him. And like you said, I could see them if they draft a quarterback. It's like the definition of insanity. How are you going to how are you going to get different results if you're doing the same thing and all you're doing is taking a different guy, a different quarterback, and throwing him in the same situation?
Right, and it never works. That's why you have the same. That's why the Jets are in a perfect situation to draft a quarterback. Right? Because now they only need to add a few pieces on the offensive line. They know exactly what they need. Okay, you get them 2 offensive linemen and another wide receiver. That quarterback is in a really nice place. Correct? He has a running back. He has a number 1 wide receiver. The Jets can't pass on a historical draft, but we'll see what happens. Now, we talked about off-platform. Anticipation. That is not attainable. It has to be inherent. You have to be born with that. It's not something that you see, every quarterback has. They need to see with their eyes, like our guy, Zach, needs to see the play and throw it to the guy.
Yeah.
Okay? Anticipation throws the ball before the play actually develops. Okay, before he makes that cut, the ball's in the air already. You could teach some slightly. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do there, but you're born with that, and it shows with the great ones. Anticipation is incredible. After anticipation, this is a big one. Is throwing a receiver open. I have never seen our guy do that. Okay? Being able to look at a receiver and a defender and find a spot where he could throw the ball to get a wide open completion, a completion for his guy. That's a special skill. You're born with that. It's not something that you could say, oh, you should have thrown it over here instead. No, it's a natural occurrence. It's something that you do, you play, it comes to you. You can't just learn that. And you need to see those type of throws on film. Now, we did the majority of the actual quarterback traits. And here comes the big one, okay? Which would be, we mentioned it already, you remember? Arm talent?
Arm talent.
Right, okay. Now, we talked about arm strength earlier in part A. That is the worst thing you could do is discount players for not having top 5 arm strength, okay? Obviously, it's a nice thing to have a little extra in the tank, right? But it's like driving in New York with a Lamborghini. You don't need the extra in the city, right? You're not going to go 0 to 60. You're not going to do anything with that, right?
Right.
Correct? Right. Arm strength is not the most important thing you're looking for. You need to have enough arm strength to make every throw in the foot. That's all you need.
Right.
Throwing the ball hard is actually, it limits you because one of the parts of arm talent is catchability. You need to throw a catchable ball. You need very ball speed. Okay. You need to, you might be able to throw it. We showed how fast quarterbacks threw it and how good they were, right? In an earlier video.
Yeah.
Right. Guys throwing at 59 miles an hour. Most of those guys are where? Out of football. Correct?
Yes.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the arm strength. It's the very ball speed. Being able to dig in a tank when you need to really, dig deep and throw it harder. That's something that you want and you need. But if you can't vary your ball speed and make the exact throw that you need that matches the play that you're making, and you're only doing one thing consistently, that's on time. And that's a big miss for what the Jets have. Okay, because you're not seeing that at all. and we went to catchability. Yeah, you have no idea how on-time, the Jets scheme, what they ran this year. The throws that they made, if it was real on-time, they would have had probably 4 or 5% more completion level. Easily. And it comes down to the same thing, the catchability of it, ball placement. Ball placement, okay? Putting the ball in the correct place.
Yeah.
The easiest catchable ball, the proper speed. Who's the kid on the Texans? What's his name?
C.J. Stroud.
Right. His receivers rave about the catchability, about his arm talent. Okay, how they don't even have to look where the ball, the ball into their hands, because it's going to be in their hands when he throws. He throws it at the right speed all the time, the right touch, the right block, the right everything. That's what arm talent is. Okay, not, oh wow, he threw that ball 60 yards in the air on as far as he could. That's not arm talent.
Right.
And that gets lost in actually reviewing film and so forth. That's what the fans look for. Okay, is the speed, the oh wow, he threw that 58 miles an hour on the sideline and he hit that guy in the chest. You know what? Our guy could do it 56 miles an hour, still hit him in the chest. You know what? He's going to make the throw over the linebacker in front of a safety, and he's going to place the ball there perfectly where our guy can make a play. What's the arm strength guy going to do? He's not going to be able to make that throw.
Right.
That's what we're looking for in a quarterback, the ability to make every type of throw. And arm talent is you really have to get the definition right when you're looking at a quarterback. Because if you're looking at the tape and you're looking at the play, you're like, okay, think about it this way. How many quarterbacks could actually make that throw when they're making the throws? What do you expect? I expect you to make that throw.
Yeah.
Okay? You're supposed to make that throw. That's not impressing me.
Yeah, when a guy's wide open running down the field, you're supposed to be able to hit him.
Right. No, especially the stationary ones when you're throwing the ball hard and that throwing hard is not what you're looking for. You want that perfect ball placement, and you want that catchability factor, and you want it consistently all over the tape. Okay. Not a perfect quarterback. I'm not going to give him up today, right? Now we talked about everything so far, I believe, right? Varied arm angles. This goes into arm talent also. Okay. Being able to throw around the defender. You ever see him throw sidearm, or being able to throw sidearm while they're jumping or running away and so forth. That comes in handy. Okay, that definitely helps you out. If you're doing stuff like that and you don't have to, that's a question mark too. Okay, because you want everything done from the correct platform, consistent. And then my big one is, does the throw actually match the play? And you're going to see when you actually look at tape. And the perfect example is up the sidelines. You have a safety closing in. You're not going to get a touchdown on the play, right? Your guy beats the corner or whoever's on him, and he's behind him. And he needs to get the ball there correctly at the right speed. That's what you're looking at, okay? Is he lofting the ball? Is it getting intercepted? Is he putting just enough on it so it gets to where it's supposed to be at the right time? Those are the throws that you're looking for. You're not looking, as I said, the same thing. There's a quarterback out there coming up this year that he's throwing the ball downfield, hitting his guy, who's a pro receiver, wide open in stride all day long. Does that tell you anything? Guy's wide open.
Yeah.
All right. Is that okay? What are you saying? That the guy you draft can't make that throw? obviously you want your guy to make that throw. But if
Yeah.
you're going to show me tape of a kid hitting a wide open guy 4 yards behind everybody consistently, I'm not impressed. Are
Right.
you?
No.
Right?
No. Because you know in the NFL that's not going to work.
It doesn't happen consistently. It's something that you need, but it's also something that 99% of the quarterbacks are going to be able to do.
Yeah.
If you give them that type of throw and you give them protection and so forth.
Yeah.
That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the kid that checks every one of these boxes for an elite quarterback. Okay?
Right.
Is it possible? Is it possible? Right?
Yeah.
I see one that I love in this coming draft. Absolutely love. Okay. I see another one that is a perfect pick for the New York Jets. Hopefully he's there when they're picking. That could do everything. Now we never talked about the environment that the quarterback's playing at, a dome, not a dome. Outdoors, the Northeast. Correct?
Yeah.
How many good quarterbacks Chicago Bears ever have? How many? Right? How many 4,000 yard seasons they ever had?
Not a lot.
I don't think they ever had one, right?
I don't know. Like maybe Cutler, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't know.
Right.
I don't think so. No.
You can't take certain types of quarterbacks and just throw them into the Northeast.
Right.
Okay. There's a reason the Patriots drafted Mac Jones. Okay. Sturdy, 6 foot, whatever, 200, whatever. Decent enough arm to make throws with what they need. There's a reason Buffalo has who?
Josh Allen. Yeah.
Right. There's a reason for it.
Right.
That's what. If you're drafting a quarterback for the Jets, you got to add in a little bit too. Okay.
Right.
You don't want that 6'1", Pac-10 guy. You don't coming to New York, taking them out of the environment. Warm weather, bringing them up to the snow. You don't want to jump into that quick. Okay. That's from a New York standpoint. A couple of quarterbacks I personally don't like. Would I send them to a dome down south where they get 90% of their games in perfect, temperature for them and so forth? Yeah, they could get away with it. We can't. You can't be rolling out a 70% arm strength guy in New York and play him at the Meadowlands. Yeah. You can't. Yes or no?
No, the wind's too strong.
Right. It's just not happening. That's another thing that has to go on. So what do you think, Jeremy? We got a lot here?
We got a lot of stuff here. A lot of traits to look at.
There is a lot to look at. And everybody all they do is they look at a couple of highlight clips and they go, wow, right?
Yeah.
And that's your quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And that's not what's happening here.
Right.
Now we made a short film about quarterbacks drafting in the draft. One happened last year, right? Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
I think we should make a breakdown of Hendon Hooker.
Okay.
In our next video.
So in our next video, we're gonna break down Hendon Hooker.
You got it. I'll talk to you next time.
All right. Well, take care, Tony.
You got it.
And we'll see you next time right here on Jets Chaos when we break down some tape on Hendon Hooker.